We're kicking things off today with an interview from the Brain Bros, right? If you guys happen to not know who they are, listen, I think they're going to make a huge splash here in the crypto world, and we're actually working with one of the team members from Umbria on some with Shot to the Moon that I think you guys are going to like to be incorporated here with the upcoming drop we got with Felix. But anyway, we're going to give him a call. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on as usual. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday, the week that was. If you're tuning in from work right now, you're vibing. I hope you're enjoying it, but appreciate you guys tuning in. All right. Let's call them and find out. The one thing that's cool with these guys is almost always, they have their webcams on, which a lot of the times, whenever we have guests on, they don't do that. And speaking of guests, the other day, guys, when we did that mega stream, people were DMing me afterwards being like, bro, that's absolutely a rug. Bro, people were saying, man, we just had that interview with Buddy, and they think that it was a rug already. It was crazy, but hell yeah. Yo, Roto Radar coming through with that 11 months. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. But guys, of course, we got to talk with the Umbria guys. And if you guys have any questions as we're going through this, please let me know. But Barnyard and Oscar, what's up, guys? How we doing?
Hey, good. How are you going? Oh shit, we said
good.
Cut that one.
All right, so you guys have a lot of stuff that's going on. We've been checking it out, and I know that the volume for the bridge has absolutely spiked, but I know we might have some people tuned in right now that isn't really familiar with Umbria, and potentially a few people that are kind of like newer within the crypto space. So can you give us the complete basics of what Umbria Network is?
Sure. What Umbria Network is the cheapest and fastest bridging platform currently out there. And we have cryptocurrency bridges between the Ethereum and Polygon network and the Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain network, which means you can move your assets from Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain quickly and easily, or Ethereum and Polygon and backwards again if you want, cheaply and quickly. And we're going to be expanding our bridges out to Avalanche and Solana and Cardano and Phantom and all of the other corners of the crypto space over the next year. And basically gluing the whole space together. We started this project about 6 to 9 months ago, and it's been growing steadily. And then just in the last few days, it's really just rocketed into space, into the stratosphere. And so,
I love that.
And so we wanted to show you, and maybe you can show the viewers the graph of how everything's been moving. We have it up on.
I'll send a link through.
Yeah, really, you tweeted it. Is the one that you tweeted?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so guys, here, check this out. This is the volume. So for anyone that's been watching the stream for quite some time, we've had these guys back on like 6 months ago. If you go and check out my YouTube channel, you'll see like our first interview with them ever. Obviously, we've kind of come to a partnership within like the Schillerverse, which is super, super cool. But we knew about them back here when there was literally no volume, and we thought, there's a chance for this really starting to take off. And as you're seeing here, this is the crazy, crazy spike. So we've been wanting to bring you guys all this good info early as possible. And now things are starting to pay off. And this chart is crazy. So guys, what's been the catalyst for the bridge really taking off? I don't want to take full credit here because I know we talk about it a little bit, but you guys must be doing some crazy stuff behind the scenes.
Well, I think definitely getting the word out on this stream has been a massive thing. We're just developers, so we really don't have much expertise or experience in the marketing side of things, but we definitely have a lot of experience in the development side of things. So what we've done is we've created this project and not really known how to spread the word that well, but behind the scenes been chipping away and refining it and making it better, making it faster, making it cheaper, making it more secure, all of that kind of thing, but not really have much of a venue to spread the word. And now that has organically, and also with your help, of course, started to grow and snowball up. We've reached critical mass now, and it seems like the sort of wider community are now starting to realize what Umbria is, and everyone's talking about it with everyone else. We've got like 25 to 30 different NFT projects as partners now, and so I think we've just reached critical mass, and everyone's starting to realize that the Umbria bridge is the best bridge to use to get to Polygon and Binance Smart Chain.
I think also there's a bit of a virtuous circle going on with the price, where as more volume goes through the bridge because of more teams and more projects coming and using our system, the APY for all of our assets in the bridge is going up, particularly for Umbria, because Umbria holders get a slice of all the assets that go through the bridge. And so as that APY goes up, more people are buying the asset and then putting that into the bridge, and then people see that the price is going up, more people see that more projects are coming in to use the system, and so it's just kind of like spiraling up and up and up. And like Oscar said, we feel like we've hit kind of like a critical mass now, where there are so many people who've implemented us and so many people talking and purchasing the coin, that it's all kind of ramping up now into a big kind of explosion upwards in positive movement.
Yeah, and we've only got 3 networks that we're bridging right now, and there's about sort of 12 to 15 that we're going to be eventually bridging. So we're still very much in the early stages, and I think people have started to realize that we're still in the early stages and that now's the time to come and check the project out and see what we're doing. We just released the roadmap the other day. I think that was a major catalyst as well, because no one realized kind of what the major vision was. They've seen that there's the Ethereum Polygon bridge, and they knew about the Ethereum Binance Smart Chain bridge coming out, but there was no like official material to say, look at these other 10 different networks that we want to implement. And we've just released that roadmap for the next year, which highlights all of these different chains that are going to be really interesting and useful chains that you're going to want to be able to move your assets to participate in. And Umbria is going to be the best way to do that. So I think people are realizing that, oh my God, Umbria is going to be doing some really great stuff over the next year.
And another thing was we released our initial roadmap at the beginning of 2020, which kind of outlined a whole bunch of things that we wanted to do, like building a DEX, building an info page, building a bridge, building a connect page, all that kind of thing. And we accidentally sort of finished doing all that stuff way quicker than we ever anticipated. And so this particular roadmap that we've built now is like incredibly big, a lot bigger than I think a lot of people were expecting. And the beautiful thing about it is that so far we've been having no problems at all sticking to that roadmap as well. And so I think people are seeing just how quickly the Umbria network as a technology is being implemented and is progressing. And that's really exciting people as well.
And now one thing that I want to talk about for anyone that's tuned in right now, and especially for anyone that's involved with the Shot to the Moon project that we're working on, is kind of from the beginning of that, we were saying, hey guys, we're going to be doing stuff on Polygon for a number of different reasons. One of them, you know, getting everybody familiar with that, but also because I think that that ecosystem is really going to start taking off. And connecting to that is you guys have talked about different projects that you have partnered with, and I think a large majority of them are from Polygon, because we do need to have that bridge where, you know, it's from, you know, the Polygon network to Ethereum mainnet, and we can look kind of to Zedrun as the first thing where a lot of people are going to recognize and say, okay, we understand how that process works. And as we kind of progress here on Twitter, everyone, you guys are seeing everyone say, hey, like games need to start looking at layer 2. They need to look at these other things. And for that, you need the compatibility, you need that bridging and everything about it. And you guys are providing that. And I think that's sweet. Now, when you're talking about this larger vision and for this roadmap, what are some of the things that you're most excited for?
I think definitely just the fact that we're now in a position with our technology where we can add new chains quite easily and add new assets quite easily. It's going to be quite a smooth process for us to add Avalanche and Phantom and Solana. And so just the most exciting thing for me is the fact that we've now become staged in this position where we can just start adding things on and not really have to worry about like the base level infrastructure, because that's what we spent the whole last year building. Now that we have that, we can just pile all of the good stuff on top of it and know for sure that it has a strong base and it's not all just going to fall over because we rushed it. So the first year was just building that base level infrastructure, and now we have the opportunity to put on whatever we need to put onto that to really make the whole system comprehensive for the whole crypto space.
Yeah, the thing I'm most excited about is that the Ethereum to Polygon bridge that we built was really just a proof of concept. And we were amazed at how popular it's been and how useful it's been to community members. And even now is still growing exponentially. And this is really just the beginning. We've created one bridge and now 2 bridges with Binance Smart Chain. But there are 10 really solid EVM-compatible blockchains that desperately need a bridge. And that's something that we can very easily now scale out and build for them. So there's Avalanche, there's Phantom, there's Solana, there's all the other ones that people are using. And there's tens of thousands of transactions going through every day on all of these blockchains. All these people are in desperate need of a bridge, and there's no solution for them at all. And we have a solution now for them that will be implemented out in the next 6 to 12 months. So that's what excites me.
So for you guys, in terms of like history of what you've done, I know that you guys talk about kind of how you guys just kind of locked yourself in a bedroom and just, learned everything that you could under the sun about how Bitcoin worked and how to do everything crypto related. But as you're getting to the point here where now you guys are, solidified devs, you're working on kind of like your own project here with that. What were some of the things that you worked on prior to doing Umbria?
Oh, we've done quite a lot of things. We started out when we were in university. We finished university around 2016, I think, if I remember correctly, and we were experimenting with Bitcoin forks. So what the first thing we did was we created a cryptocurrency called Veggie Coin, which is still out in the world, and it's a mineable cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. And whenever you mine a block, you get some coins as a reward, but 20% of those coins go into a special like animal welfare fund. So we had a bunch of people mining, and we got all these coins, and we would sell the coins and get a chunk of cash, and excuse me, and like give it to a charity or buy like dog food for a dog shelter. And so that was the first thing we did. And then after that, that's still going, and it's kind of like its own little community now. We don't really do much on that one anymore, but we still kind of look into it from time to time. And so the next thing we did after that was a website called Free Faucet, which was basically just an educational website where people could come and claim very small amounts of cryptocurrency and kind of learn about those cryptocurrencies. And so I think we listed like Dogecoin on that one, and we had Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of the major ones. And that went on for about 2 years. And I think that has something like 130,000 members now. So that's still growing and still going. We don't do a whole bunch of stuff on that anymore. We're pretty much just doing Umbria. But for about 5 or 6, maybe 7 years, we've been interested in cryptocurrency and just kind of exploring the different zones. And when we learned about DeFi a couple of years ago, that's kind of something that really sparked our interest, and we started thinking about Umbria. And then Umbria's been going for about a year now.
Yeah, and in the cryptocurrency space, it kind of felt like there was a lot of really interesting technology, but there wasn't really any unified protocols or systems that really just made perfect sense to go out into the world and be useful to a lot of people. There's things like Bitcoin that can be, a really interesting store of wealth, and they can also be used to transact for people in third world countries and things like that might not be using traditional banking systems. But beyond that, it didn't really feel like to me until last year that there was really anything that interesting to the majority of people, at least where I live. But now that we have decentralized finance and we have some really robust decentralized finance systems out there in the world, it became clear to me that this was a system that could be used by a lot of people, and it really resonated with me as a user of traditional banking systems, but still wanted something that was better. And so at Umbria, we've kind of had a look around at what things were needed in the space in 2021 and now in 2022, and we've decided that we're going to be building things that are going to be really useful to people in the system, and the more useful they can be, the better. And bridging just seemed like a place that was lacking the most in the cryptocurrency space in 2021, and because of that, it seems like we've gotten incredibly early, and everyone that's been watching the Schiller podcast and looking at Umbria from day one, we're so early in the bridging space in general. There really aren't that many cross-chain bridges out there at the moment, and it's something that we think is going to be kind of like the next big thing in crypto for the next 1 or 2 years.
So for you guys with wanting to build stuff that's useful, right, and you're going with the bridge here, what do you think is out there that would be useful that's not really out there, or potentially something that you're working on, if there is anything at top of your mind?
I think something that would be super useful, which is something that we're starting to work on now, is an NFT that can onboard people into DeFi. Because I think a lot of people in the NFT space, they're kind of interested in crypto. They're also kind of beginners. They're not necessarily that interested in the technical side of cryptocurrency, probably more interested in the NFT side of cryptocurrency for the most part. Obviously, there'll be like some crossover there for some people. But I think that the NFT community are obviously a very smart group of people. And if they could be given something, an opportunity to be onboarded into DeFi without having that huge barrier in between NFTs and DeFi, which is because they're kind of two different spaces, I think that would be something that would be super useful. So we're working on something right now, an NFT collection that is going to help onboard people into DeFi. And I can explain a bit more about that. I think we were already going to talk a little bit about that, though.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. It's called like the Secret Sushi Bento Club, right? Because right now that's super small, and some that I highlighted in the newsletter that we have, but feel free to dive into it.
Yeah, okay, sure thing. So we're basically still kind of in the team building stage for that project, but the elevator pitch for that project is have a collection of 10,000 NFTs. Whenever someone purchases that NFT in the beginning, let's say they purchase it for like the rarest one for 1 ETH, we're going to take that ETH and we're going to put it into DeFi. Now that NFT has a DeFi portfolio that's earning interest forever, okay? And so all of the interest that's earned gets restaked in that portfolio, and that NFT's portfolio gradually grows across time. If someone trades that NFT with someone else, a small royalty will be taken out of it and put into the DeFi platform, and will increase the portfolio again of that of that NFT. And so at the end of the day, if the user wants to get that DeFi earnings out of the NFT, we're kind of deciding whether they should have to burn that NFT or whether they should sell it back to the Sushi Bento platform and get the earnings out. We're still not decided on that. But basically what it's going to be is a whole bunch of NFTs with individual DeFi portfolios that just grow across time. And that will kind of feed into the value of the NFT and the price of the NFT. But we can also attach to that NFT a whole bunch of interesting DeFi features across time, because it's all smart contract driven, of course. So we can have different smart contracts that have different interesting, maybe gamified aspects and things like that, or just any kind of authentication aspects or governance aspects, because really NFTs are just the base layer crypto functionality from which you can build lots of different interesting systems. So that's kind of what we're building right now. Yeah. And we're just sort of getting a team together for that. But we have built out some of the art, for example, and some of the underlying technology for that.
The beautiful thing about these NFTs is that they are going to intrinsically gain value over time. So it's almost like a guaranteed way of your NFT being worth more over time, because the underlying assets that are held by that NFT go up because they're staked in a DeFi platform. So it's an interesting take that I haven't really seen anywhere else in the NFT space yet. And it's just another piece of utility that can be given to the NFT. And it's also another way that these NFTs can be used as a good store of value. Because we've seen a lot of these blue chip NFTs really only used for two things. One is kind of like clout in the NFT space. If you have, a CryptoPunk or something like that, kind of gives you the authority in the NFT community as someone who, knows what they're talking about. But also they're also used as a store of value. If you have a CryptoPunk or something like that, you can just hold on to it, and the price fluctuates and hopefully will go up. It's been going up, pretty steadily now for the last 2 or 3 years. And so our Sushi Bento Club NFTs will be able to be that store of wealth with a more guaranteed increase of value, purely because those assets that are going up in the DeFi platform are then attributed to that NFT.
Yeah, and we can do some really interesting on-chain governance stuff with this. We can ask the community, which DeFi platform do you want the portfolios to be staked in? And you can vote on that with your NFT. And maybe the community will vote for some super spicy moonshots, or maybe they'll vote for up to the community. And we can facilitate an entire platform that's completely based on chain. Everyone can vote in a decentralized way, and it's all facilitated by cryptocurrency.
And one thing that we would like to try, it's up for debate right now with the community and internally with the team, but I would like to put the assets that are generated by purchasing these NFTs straight into the Umbria bridge, because that means that it could be potentially millions of dollars of positive pressure on the Umbria token's price. And that would just be something that would be, really positive for the Umbria community.
It feels like when I first started learning about the entire space about a year ago, that the idea of decentralized finance was really the bull case for everything. Now you see this NFT wave, and I would say it's a lot easier to onboard somebody to NFTs and kind of, getting them to understand that aspect than decentralized finance. And obviously it depends on the person. But with this, you guys are saying, hey, we're going to do an NFT. Is that in recognition that that's where the attention needs to be when you're doing it? Because we're slowly starting to see traditional companies come in and do NFTs and change their entire model to be around it. And so seeing you guys who are from that DeFi area look and say, hey, there's an opportunity for us to provide one value in the NFT space, but also try to reach that specific market that might not be aware of us otherwise. How come you decided to essentially make this NFT project?
I think that NFTs are like a powerful tool that nobody knows how powerful they are, and nobody really knows how they're meant to properly be used because they're so new. And so really the Sushi Bento Club is another experiment in which we can innovate in that area and see if we can do something that's really amazing. Because with a new technology, it really does take 10 or 20 years to truly understand what you've built. And you can say the same thing for the internet. People really didn't know what the internet was going to be used for. And in the 90s, no one would have ever imagined that we were using it for things like social media. And so there's just so much innovation left in the NFT space to do. And I think that NFTs and DeFi really pair together quite well, that we need to do something there and figure out how it all works and build something that could be really awesome.
I think another key thing about the NFT space from a social perspective is that it's the easiest place to onboard people into cryptocurrency. The problem with DeFi is that it's super technical, and that is made even worse by the fact that if you want to experiment with it, you have to put your own money on the line. With NFTs, it's really easy to understand how they work, where the value comes from, and have communities based around NFTs that can fill in the gaps of knowledge that a newbie would have entering the space. With DeFi, you don't have any of that. You have these really scary, complicated systems that say you can only use me if you put $1,000 or $10,000 into them. And so that's a huge barrier for entry for people. But if you can take the nice aspect of NFTs, which is, the really simple onboarding, nice community side, and pair that with all of the advantages of DeFi, which are, putting your money to work, getting 10 or 20% APY, which is not otherwise possible in any traditional finance system. You can have the best of both worlds. So I think what we're trying to do really is we're trying to get the best of NFTs, the best of DeFi, put them together and give everyone the full advantages of both at the same time.
Juiced. I love it. Okay, so Devler's coming in with a question here from the chat, and he says, if you're willing to share, I would be curious which other cross-chain bridges, if any, are out there that you guys are specifically striving to rival in a way.
Definitely the Polygon official bridge. Even though we're partnered with Polygon,
we're going to take them out.
We recognize that the Polygon bridge is like super widely used, but it is really expensive and it is really slow. So with our bridge, even though the Polygon bridge is our competitor, if we're able to provide a more effective bridge than the Polygon bridge, that's really good for the Polygon community anyway. So even though we're competing on this level, we're really, best friends on this level. Apart from that, there are some other bridges out there that are basically just clones of the Polygon bridge, skinned up in a much nicer way. In a much more user-friendly way, but they don't really solve the problem of the slow transaction speed and high transaction costs. So even though there is this kind of like user experience benefit, there really is no financial benefit. There aren't any bridges out there right now that are anywhere near as fast or cheap as our bridge. So I would say, without trying to sound too arrogant, that we don't really have any competitors on a technical level, because our bridge, the way it's implemented, is a completely novel way of doing it, and it's way more effective in every way.
I was literally going to say the same thing. I don't want to be too cocky, but I feel like there really isn't yet anyone who is doing it as fast and cheaply as us. And so there isn't really anyone that we feel like we have to compete with yet, because we're so early in the space and have already kind of dominated the areas of the space that we've implemented stuff.
But that being said, we've only really scratched the surface with how many chains we could implement. We've only implemented 3 out of maybe 15 that would be really effective. For example, even just Bitcoin to Ethereum. If you have Bitcoin and you want wrap Bitcoin, we could implement a bridge where you put Bitcoin in and get wrap Bitcoin out. So even for things that wouldn't be immediately obvious, like a Bitcoin bridge, we could be implementing that as well.
Regarding partnerships, you guys have a couple different things, and recently so I'm covering your face on here. We're going over one of the recent articles, but it says, add Ghost stake to the Umbria Narni bridge, a proposal to benefit the Ave Gotcha community. So I guess right off the bat, what's Ave Gotcha and what's this Ghost?
Oh, you want to take that one?
Sure, yeah. So Ave Gotcha was originally a hackathon done by a group of people at a Aave hackathon, and they've basically built this metaverse and a bunch of little games and that kind of thing. And they have these little Ave Gotcha NFT characters that you can essentially invest your crypto inside of, and then they earn APY for you. And it's got a really nice community, and there's a token they have called the Ghost token, which kind of facilitates the entire ecosystem. And so we have partnered with them to provide a bridge for their Ghost tokens, and we have a small amount of liquidity on our bridge available to the users to bridge their assets from Ethereum to Polygon. But we had a chat with the founders of Ave Gotcha and said, hey guys, we have this amazing bridge that your community is using, but it would be cool if we could get some liquidity from the Ave Gotcha treasury so that we could facilitate larger transactions on this bridge. And they said, that sounds great. Because we're fully decentralized, you'll need to make a DAO proposal, and the community will have to vote on whether or not they want to do that. And so we made a DAO proposal for that, and about, is it $10 million of Ghost or $20 million?
Yeah, it had like almost $25 million worth of Ghost voted onto it. And it was something like a 91% yes ratio to no ratio. And so,
which is unprecedented. It's like the highest ratio of any proposal ever, which is great to see.
Yeah, so it seems like the community over there are really keen to get that moving. It's in the next stage of proposals now. I think they're doing like an internal proposal of some kind to get it through that section, and then once that's all passed, then that will be added to the Umbria bridge, and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, so that'll strengthen the bridge for the Ave Gotcha community, which is a massive community of users. And we found that a lot of the people from the Ave Gotcha community come and see the bridge and realize that we have all these other assets as well that they're invested in or that they need to transact with. And so we found that doing these partnerships with big NFT communities or big DeFi platforms has been really helpful for our growth with how many people are using our bridge as well.
Where do you think this is kind of going next? Because I know that you guys talked previously about the Binance Smart Chain, and if you're wanting to talk about that kind of like integration, if that's live, if it's about to go live, or any of the kind of details. But I mean, even from like a month to 2 months from now, if you are doing all these integrations, where do you kind of see you guys on your kind of overall roadmap?
Yeah, so Binance Smart Chain is live and people are using it now. I think we've had something like 50 or 70 Binance Smart Chain transactions in the last 2 days. And we're just doing like a bunch of SEO improvements to our site now to show up on Google a lot more for Binance Smart Chain to ETH bridge. We did a lighthouse test, which is like a Google tool for ranking SEO, and we scored 100 out of 100 for Binance for SEO for Polygon to Ethereum bridging. So that's why if you type in Polygon Ethereum bridge, we'll come up on like every possible search. But for Binance Smart Chain, we haven't got that SEO yet. So we're just working on that SEO now, and hopefully we'll have that in the next few weeks as Google starts to realize what we have available. But further than that, we're just going to be adding Avalanche. That's going to be our next bridge, and then Phantom, and then I think we're looking at Solana, then Cardano, and there's going to be Bitcoin in there somewhere around there.
Chain, Huobi, Phantom.
Yeah, all of those. So we're just going to be adding a whole bunch of bridges, and once we've bridged all of the far corners of the crypto ecosystem together, we're going to put a decentralized exchange right in the middle and offer incentives for people to migrate their liquidity from all the far corners of the metaverse, if you want to call it, into our decentralized exchange, and hopefully have a super decentralized exchange right in the middle of everything, from which you can get into the far corners of the space in the quickest and fastest way. And then the long-term vision is to have all of that as a layer on top of the cryptocurrency space, so that the crypto users don't even need to know what the underlying technology that they're using is. It will just be all user experience layers on top. And that will be the kind of internet level that we experience now. You don't know that you're using SSL. You don't know that you're using HTTPS protocol. You're just on a website watching a YouTube video. You don't need to care about what the underlying protocols are. So that's kind of the long-term vision. And I think we're going to be able to do that by bridging everything together and putting a skin over the top of that, which will be Umbria.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is going to come in the next 6 to 12 months, which is the most exciting, is way more volume. Because right now, we have about 5% of the amount of bridging happening on our bridge compared to the official Polygon bridge. And the beautiful thing about that is that all of the transactions that are happening on our bridge, 80% of them wouldn't have been economically viable on the Polygon bridge. And so we might be seeing 10 times as much volume on our bridge as the Polygon bridge in the end game of people figuring out who we are and actually figuring out that our bridge is faster and cheaper. And that is only one bridge of 15 or so bridges that we're going to be building. And there is so much more volume we're going to see because of that. And when volume comes into our system, Umbria holders get lots more assets. And hopefully the price of Umbria will go up and the whole ecosystem will grow and flourish in the next year or two. And the most beautiful thing about that is that we've gone from having about 2% of the volume of Polygon to 5% of the volume of Polygon in about 3 weeks. And that, not financial advice, of course, but that has made the price of Umbria go from like $1.20 to $2.60 in like just a couple of weeks. And so it's just making me and the rest of the Umbria community super excited about what will happen when we have 10% of Polygon's volume, or 20%, or we have 5 more blockchains that we're bridging to instead of just 2 or 3.
Now, we got a couple of questions coming down in here. And guys, if you're tuned in right now and you have any extra questions, whether they be small, large, whatever, feel free to throw them down in the chat and we'll get to them. But Deviler is asking, is there a possibility or plan with the Binance Smart Chain Bridge to support BNB or possibly swapping some ETH into BNB during the bridge? That area is not really a struggle with Matic because of the low cost. Users can get a faucet for free to run a transaction, but on Binance Smart Chain, that's not the case.
Yeah, so I asked the Discord this morning, who wants me to implement BNB on the bridge? And a couple of people said, yeah, me. So I think that that's definitely going to be something that's coming up pretty soon, probably in the next 2 weeks or so. We're also wondering if the community want us to add a stable coin as well to the Binance Smart Chain bridge. If so, which one you would want us to add? We're thinking it would probably be either BUSD or USDT, but that would be up to the community as well. And we love hearing what people want us to add to these bridges, because at the end of the day, we want them to be as useful as possible for people so that people actually do use them. And so thanks for the question, because that is actually something that we want to hear.
With regards to swapping during the bridging phase, swapping one asset for another, that is something that we would like to have eventually. And maybe that's something that we want to have sooner rather than later. We definitely want to have a DEX in the middle of everything so that as you're bridging, you can also seamlessly change into whatever asset you need to be in. That definitely feels like something that the users are definitely going to need at some point. The question is, when do we want to implement that? If we do that too soon, then we won't be reaching all of the far corners of the crypto space, and then maybe we won't be able to launch as spectacularly as we'd like to. So it's just a trade-off of when are we going to do it, rather than if we're going to do it. But I think we're definitely going to have something. Well, we're definitely going to have an exchange at DEX on top of all of this stuff. The question is just when.
And coming in from Solid for Life, won't there be less yield with Binance Smart Chain, Sol, etc., with the exchanges being added as their transaction fees are so low compared to ETH? But you guys are taking the network fees from just the bridge, not necessarily the transaction fees from those networks by themselves, right?
Right, so we're charging a 0.5% fee to bridge, and so if you bridge $100, it's a 50-cent fee, and that goes straight to the liquidity providers of the asset that you're bridging. So, for example, if you're bridging Ethereum, people that have staked Ethereum in the system get a fee, and also people that stake Umbria get a fee of all the assets that are bridged through. And so we think that the amount of fees that are earned from the other blockchains will be comparable to the ones from Ethereum to Polygon, and because the fee is only 0.5%, it will only be like a fractional, trivial amount of money unless people start bridging hundreds of thousands of dollars or something like that per transaction.
Yeah.
So we see that each blockchain could potentially double the amount of volume that we have on for one. So we have, let's say, 100 units of volume from Ethereum to Polygon. Now that we've added Binance, we think we'll get another 100 units from that, maybe more. And then as we add more blockchains, we'll see more and more as well. We think that Polygon is one of the most voluminous blockchains, but I personally think that Solana is going to be a huge one, and also Avalanche is going to be massive as well.
The coolest part about this, and this is more for anyone that's not really familiar with it, is that you guys have no impermanent loss, and if you're staking the Umbria token itself, you're accruing fees from multiple different assets. So in here, I've from the Umbria I have staked, I've gotten 0.11 Ethereum so far, and again, that's with relatively low volume on the bridge up until now. For Matic, I've gotten 7 of that for USDC. I've gotten 14, USDC from that. How do you guys kind of predict things are going to unfold here? Because you said that for people that are staking Umbria, whatever asset you guys have on the bridge is going to end up being able to be slowly accrued from Umbria holders. So what are the other tokens you think are going to be a part of this bridge?
So right now we have 25% APY on Ethereum, which is just ludicrous with no impermanent loss. I mean, you just don't see that APY anywhere at all. And so we're really excited about that. We think that that trend is going to continue. So you're going to earn, if you're an Umbria staker, you're going to earn Ethereum, USDT, USDC, Rep Bitcoin, Polygon, BNB if we are going to implement that on the Binance chain, and then
and the Ghost token
Ghost token as well. And then when we add all of the other blockchains, so for example, let's say we add Phantom, Umbria stakers on Ethereum are also going to earn Phantom as well, and then the Avalanche token, AVAX, Sol for Solana, all of the native tokens on all of those blockchains that we add. And then if there's any particular token that people want us to add for those bridges so that they can bridge it from one blockchain to another, those will then also be earned by the Umbria stakers as well.
Yeah, the thing we should explain as well is the Umbria token is only on Ethereum and Polygon. There is no Umbria token on Binance Smart Chain or Solana or Avalanche or any of those. And so with our protocol, we have to give 0.3 of the transaction amount. Like if you do $1,000 bridge, 0.3 of that goes to Umbria stakers in the bridge, no matter what. And so when people move volume to the Binance Smart Chain or to Phantom or Solana or any of those where Umbria doesn't exist on that chain, it's going to be Umbria stakers on Ethereum that get all of those fees. So if you're staking Umbria on Ethereum, you're going to be earning fees from Ethereum, but also from Binance Smart Chain and from Avalanche and from Solana and from Phantom. And that's why we're so excited about bringing as many bridges on as possible, because with every new bridge, the Umbria stakers on Ethereum are just going to get a whole bunch of new tokens for free. And so now that we have 3 bridges, we're already starting to see that, Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance Smart Chain. But there are just so many more bridges that we can bring on and give the Umbria stakers so many more assets for basically doing nothing extra.
Yeah, and so the APY for staking Umbria will just increase and increase as we add more blockchains.
And Willis is in here. A Palm bridge for any of us locked within the Nifty platform would be useful. I don't know if you guys have looked at that, but I think Palm is the one that Candy, the baseball one's on as well. But I'm assuming you might have heard of Nifty platform before. Is that something that's on your radar at all, or is that the first time you're hearing about it?
Honestly, I've never heard of that blockchain, but if it's EVM compatible, it's probably not that difficult for us to implement, and so it could be thrown onto the end of our roadmap if there is enough. What's the word for it? If enough people want us to implement that, then for sure we'll implement it.
Yeah, and that's kind of our approach as well, because we realize that the only bridges that are worth implementing are ones that people are actually going to use. So if our community says, look, we really need this bridge, that would be the most important one for us to implement. And so it's just, there's no council of which bridge are we going to implement next. We literally just ask the people what they want, and if they want something, it's in everyone's best interest to have it.
Yeah, and Devler's saying that it is EVM compatible. So, Willis, if you want to DM me after this, then I can send him a link over that one for it. MetaMask supports Palm, but it needs to be enabled. Okay, cool. So yeah, I can pass that along and maybe look. Hey, listen, right here, maybe started the next bridging thing for these guys, which is cool. Bacon's asking. Everyone always says their bridge is the fastest and cheapest, but what would be your number one thing that sets you guys apart from others?
Oh, definitely the number one thing that sets us apart from others is that it's the fastest and cheapest.
But also our support as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we have a support channel on Discord, and our average support resolution time is 5 minutes. And so if you have a support query, you're going to be seen to very, very quickly. And that just isn't the case for the Polygon bridge. I've spoken to quite a few people who've lost their funds through the Polygon bridge when it's gone down or had some kind of problem, and they've never been able to get through to support to have it rectified. And so definitely our support is up there with the best.
Yeah, we've had over 30,000 transactions and never lost any funds or anything like that. And me and Oski are on Discord anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. And so if there's ever a problem, there's always going to be someone there to help you out.
It's kind of juiced. The also, I mean, in a way, right? Like when we look at the LooksRare platform that came out for NFTs, is they gave us a certain amount of users tokens to be able to stake in their platform. You're able to accrue the fees of the marketplace fees, and essentially that's the same thing with the bridge here. Do you know if any of the other bridges are offering anything where people are able to earn from having tokens of the bridge, essentially?
The problem with most bridges, and the reason that they can't do that, is because a lot of them have implemented a very similar set of smart contracts that have just been forked from each other, which are really, really slow on the validation stage and really, really expensive. So they can't afford to, charge their users an extra cut and give them to some kind of token holders, because that would make a bridge that's already so expensive it's almost not worth using to being even more expensive. And so I don't know of any other bridge that's offering a liquidity incentive for the users. I'm pretty sure we're the only one. And because we've extracted a lot of the kind of cumbersome validation steps in our new protocol that we invented, we really have this kind of proprietary technology that no one else can use and have anything that's comparably cheap or fast.
One of the beautiful things about Avalanche is that if you bridge your assets over there, over from Ethereum to Avalanche, they will give you an airdrop. And so when we implement the Ethereum Avalanche bridge or the Polygon Avalanche bridge, or whichever we decide to implement, there is going to be a huge amount of Avalanche to airdrop onto our community, onto people that have the Umbria token. And so that's something to look forward to.
Wicked saying what they're describing is done on Phantom already with Spirit. If they aren't aware, they should check it out. So just mentioning there's a Spirit bridge on Phantom. Max is saying not important, but where in the UK are you guys from?
We're living in London right now. We've just moved into a new apartment in South London, but we also live in Gibraltar, which is like a tiny British territory in the south of Spain, which is kind of like a crypto paradise. So a lot of crypto businesses that kind of want to get regulated the proper way will set up a company in Gibraltar, and they have some really nice regulatory frameworks so that you can incorporate in a not sketchy way and actually be fully regulated as a proper company. So we're basically building Umbria there, but we live in London as well.
Juiced. And for TSBG, is saying any reason why CoinGecko does not show much data regarding trading volume or market cap. Thank you for all the great info, Team Umbria. And I think it's just because you guys are really so small.
Right now. Well, one of the reasons is we didn't want to list on any centralized exchange because we didn't want a whale to come in and pump and dump our coins and hurt our community. So we're only listed on Uniswap. And the beautiful thing about Uniswap is you can't buy small tokens like ours in huge volumes and manipulate the price because it becomes cost prohibitive to do so. So what we've got is a really like nice gradual steady adoption of our token, just because it's not possible to come in and buy $1 million of it, because it wouldn't be worth it would have so much slippage that it would ruin the incentive to do so. And that was kind of a conscious decision so that we could gradually build this community, gradually increase the value of the project, and not have to worry about big pump and dump groups coming in and smashing our community and really damaging our community.
Yeah, another reason is that our cryptocurrency token, the Umbria token, is over more than one blockchain. And so it would probably require like a bespoke implementation on their part to properly track where all those tokens are and what blockchains they're on and what dexes they're on and that kind of thing. And so for that reason, because we are so small, they probably just haven't got around to building that out.
And kind of speaking a little bit about like the token holders and all this kind of stuff, guys, I just brought up like Etherscan for a second to kind of reference it. So there is one here, which I think the mass supply here with the two wallets, I believe, are like the Umbria wallets and then the bridges themselves. But when you scroll down, most of these wallets, right, like as soon as we get out of like the top 8 here, it goes down to less than 10,000 tokens per wallet. So again, it's very, very small. And I mean, how do people get Umbria token? Because I know that you guys have the farm, but is that really the only way apart from, straight up buying it?
Yeah, well, we've never done an ICO or anything like that. We've never sold a bunch of tokens to people to raise money. We've just very slowly sold parts of our pre-mint to the community to raise any small amount of money that we needed for development. And that's kind of how we've structured everything. So our pool, our Uniswap pool, is the only place that you can buy the Umbria token, apart from we have a small pool on our DEX on the Matic chain as well.
Another reason we think is that if you have Umbria token, the best thing to do with it is to put it in the bridge and earn some really, really good APYs. So there is a lot of people that have all of their Umbria in the bridge and then it won't show in their wallet on Etherscan. It will just show.
I just realized that Devler pointed that out in the chat. But okay, gotcha. And then Solid's asking, congrats on passing the CERDIC audit. Is that report available online?
No, the report isn't available online, and that's kind of an internal decision so that hackers don't come along and read through the audit and say, oh, they forgot to do this, and give them any fuel to kind of try to do any penetration on us. So that was kind of like, we're still not really sure whether that was the right decision. Maybe we should publicly list the audit, but
there have been a couple of big projects that have released their audits and then immediately been hacked, and so it's just something that's, even though nothing was found that was even moderately severe or anything like that, it's just better to keep all that stuff away from the hackers.
For sure, for sure. And TSPG, yeah, for sure. I can send you a message in a little bit. Now, you guys always come on the stream and we talk about you and you're, essentially the face of Umbria, but is the team just you guys or do you have anybody else working with you?
There's about 15 of us.
Holy sweet sugar.
Most of the people in the team, like the marketing team, for example, they only work about part-time. There's 3 developers. We have about 5 advisors from 2 companies. One's called Online Blockchain PLC, which is a London-listed company, and ADVFN PLC, which is a London-listed company. So there are some people from those companies who have a lot of experience in like the finance realm and in the software realm, who are just kind of giving us advice and helping us make good decisions, but aren't like necessarily affiliated or owners of like the Umbria as a business that you might say. But yeah, there's like 10 to 15 core people who we regularly have like meetings with and plan stuff and talk about. There's a lot of mentors, but we're the co-founders, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and right now we're looking for new developers to join our core team as well. And anyone who's incredibly enthusiastic about crypto in general is encouraged to just apply. We can probably find something for you, because at the end of the day, our ethos at Umbria is if you are really into crypto and really engaged and eager about the space, then there's always something we can all build together.
Love it, love it. Guys, down in the chat is the Umbria Network's Twitter. If you wanted to go follow them up on there, or if you just go back to my Twitter feed, you'll see it on there. Gentlemen, any kind of final things that we should know about or be aware of that are coming up kind of soon, just to keep our eyes on?
I would just say that if you're interested in exploring more of the crypto space, via Avalanche and Phantom, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, all of those. Keep your eye on Umbria as we expand, and you'll be able to very easily get to those far corners of the space and watch us unify and glue together all of these different chains. And would welcome anybody into our Discord to ask any questions or have any discussions with us about the project. We'd be more than happy to speak to anyone about it. And we're looking forward to see all of you guys join our Discord and have a chat with us.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks so much for popping on.
Thanks for
Cool.
having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Always a blast.
All right, peace. Yo, there we go. Sheesh. Yo, sheesh. It's always fun chatting with them. I always feel like, wow, they're pretty damn smart, too. Also, TSPG, thanks so much for the bits. I appreciate it.